Welcome to Dr. Fred Markets. This is not financial advice. While most people ignore what's happening in the markets, a few choose to pay attention. And that difference, that simple choice to stay informed, changes everything. You're one of them. Let's get into it.
Your grandkids will laugh that you own stocks, not rockets. Interstellar comet. Astronomers say this ice ball screaming through our system is older than the sun itself. Translation: space isn't the future. Space is the oldest market on the board, and you're still stuck arguing about Nvidia's PE ratio. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 just bled over 1%. Nvidia's down more than 3%, and everyone's doom-scrolling red candles like this is new. Bitcoin and Ethereum are both down too, which tells you one thing: this isn't crypto drama. This is macro gravity punching everything at once. Now look at the other side of the telescope: commercial space. Rocket Lab's launch cadence has gone from science experiment to logistics business. Dozens of launches per year, government payloads, private contracts, recurring revenue from literally throwing metal into orbit. And then there's Starlink blanketing the planet with satellite internet. No fancy PR, just thousands of satellites quietly turning empty sky into subscription income. High RPU, low churn, zero malls, zero billboards, people in war zones, ships in the middle of nowhere, planes over oceans, all piping money back into orbit every month. Here's the tension. Your portfolio cries over a 1% S&P wobble, while an entire infrastructure layer is being stapled onto planet Earth. From above, who owns this layer gets paid like the landlord of the whole internet. Now let's zoom out. Clive Davis dies at 94, Alan Greenspan at 100. Two guys who proved one thing: real power lives in who controls the platform. Clive picked who got heard. Greenspan picked how money flowed. They didn't sing. They didn't build factories. They sat on the choke points. Space is the next choke point. Signal 1. Rockets are now trucks. Reusable boosters turn $100 million firecrackers into something closer to delivery vans. Every year, the cost per kilogram to orbit drops. Lower cost means more satellites, more services, more dependency. Signal 2. Satellite internet is not a cool gadget. It's becoming critical infrastructure. Banks use space for timing. Shipping uses it for tracking. Militaries use it for everything. When infrastructure moves from underground cables to orbiting boxes, the landlord changes too. Signal 3. Public markets are still angry toddlers, obsessed with quarterly Nvidia moves and S&P ticks, while the space stack is priced like a toy category. Demand for Earth observation, connectivity, and in-space logistics is compounding, but flows are still drunk on megacap AI. So what happens when the market finally wakes up and realizes space is not tech, it's rent?
Let's pause for a second. Ask yourself this: do you really understand what's happening in the markets right now? Do you know how this affects your money, your savings, your future? Most people don't, and that's exactly why you're here. Let's keep going.
Here's the connection nobody talks about. Space is just real estate with physics instead of zoning laws. Launch is your construction crew. Satellites are your apartment blocks. Spectrum and orbits are your land titles. And subscriptions, data, defense contracts, that's the rent. Everyone else argues which AI model wins. Wrong question. The real game: whose satellites, whose relays, whose networks do all those AI servers quietly depend on? Data centers can move, fiber can be overbuilt, but orbital slots, launch pads, defense-grade space links, that's scarce. So here's your one lesson today. Space isn't a science project, it's a cash flow machine stapled to the sky. You don't invest because rockets look cool. You invest because more of the world's GDP now relies on stuff you never see, floating 500 miles above your head. Mechanism is simple: cheaper launch, more satellites, more services, more dependence, pricing power for whoever owns the infrastructure. Exactly how landlords win once a city is built around their buildings. Action, not fantasy. This is not financial advice, but here is the truth. First, track who gets real, boring revenue from orbit. Not space tourism, not posters of Mars. Recurring contracts, government payloads, enterprise connectivity. Think data, defense, and communications, not space memes. Second, watch the balance sheet and launch record, not the marketing deck. Number of successful launches, cost per kilogram, backlog of contracted launches or services. That's your unit economics, your occupancy rate, your rent roll. Third, build a tiny space rent sleeve next to your index funds if your risk tolerance allows. Spread it. A launch provider here, a satellite operator there, maybe an ETF if you're lazy. Size it so if rockets stumble, you sleep at night, but if orbit becomes the new landlord layer, you stop laughing and start collecting. You already rent your data to cloud giants, your attention to social apps, your energy bill to utilities. The next layer you'll pay, quietly for the rest of your life, is space infrastructure. The only question, do you stay the tenant, or do you finally own a piece of the sky? 3 takeaways. 1. Space is infrastructure now, not sci-fi. 2. Rockets and satellites are just another form of real estate and rent. 3. Your job is to track cash flows from orbit, not headlines about Mars. Hit subscribe if you like learning what Wall Street notices 5 years late. This is not financial advice, but it is the truth. This is not financial advice. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and check the links in the first comment below.
That's it for today on Dr. Fred Markets. I hope this gave you clarity and a new perspective. Remember, this is not financial advice. Always do your own research. If you found this useful, subscribe. It's free and it helps the channel grow. Find me on the blog at drfredmarkets.com and join the newsletter via the link in bio. I'm Dr. Fred Markets. See you in the next one.